All right, Landon, hit the disclaimer.
I like it. Yeah, and it's just in everything, like PCOS, they have a luteal phase deficiency. So they do amazing with progesterone. And then you're right. It's like, oh, I don't have a uterus, so I don't need it anymore. It's like, but man, progesterone is just so beneficial for your sleep, your mood. It helps bones, so
it's incredible.
It's crazy that it's been so kind of neglected for so. Again, I think you're right. It's just something that's almost put to the wayside because the progestins gave it such a bad name. And then the follow-up question was, how do you set timelines for these women when we do have so many moving pieces in starting?
Amazing question. So, and I'll answer that because I remember 2 and 3 now. So I'm not much of to talk about like stacking hormones. So what you're talking about is like add testosterone first, then progesterone later, and then after that estradiol, and then after that, I don't do that a whole lot. And one of the reasons I don't do that is, again, mostly just this is all theoretical. Again, this is just all my personal opinion. It's not based on any literature in particular, but hormones work together. And so, for example, you definitely would never want to give just, in my humble opinion, I don't think you'd ever want to give just estradiol alone to a female, especially in menopause and beyond. I think that'd be a really bad idea. You're going to induce some bleeding, which is just annoying to them. And estradiol by itself has unbelievable properties to it, I think. But I think without progesterone, it's kind of like the yin without the yang. And I kind of get into that in the course with some literature. But I love the idea of them working in synchronicity. And I think if you really truly understand hormones at a very deep level, you'll understand how to dose them appropriately. You'll understand why you'd want to give progesterone and estradiol together, and more importantly, how would you dose it so that that female patient likely isn't going to run into any problems with it whatsoever. Same with testosterone and whatnot. So there's very rarely a time where I will stack hormones. I think there is some differences in terms of timing to some degree. So for example, like a female patient with PCOS, at some point, if I get their PCOS so well managed and under control, practically almost reversed to some degree, they may end up needing a little bit of testosterone. Not all women with PCOS have hyperandrogenism. So in fact, adding testosterone in at that point would be a really good idea, where early on that may actually not be necessary or effective. It may even be somewhat detrimental. So I hope that answers that question. What was the third question? So we talked about stacking and then time frame.
Timelines. Yeah.
That's right. So I'm a big fan of creating realistic expectations and timelines with my patients. I think we all are. Any of us in the industry, we get that. So, for the vast majority of my patients, I try to kind of just put it into some sort of like experiential sense. The experience of your mental health changing, first and foremost. I think that most patients will find that their irritability, their anxiety, their insomnia, things that are really, really usually more disruptive to their life than anything else improves actually usually pretty quickly. So usually I like to say within even a few weeks, they might notice something, even something subtle. I always tell my patients it's dose dependent. If you don't feel anything and it's been a few weeks, that's okay. The point is, over time, things get better and better and better. So within 3 months, we should really be feeling something. And it should be even somewhat robust. By 6 months to a year is really where we're now just starting to dial things in. You're feeling great. We're just trying to make sure we're chasing optimal the whole time. And usually we'll get to a point where we achieve that, where practically speaking, all your symptoms are resolved. And at that point, a year to date, especially on something like testosterone replacement therapy for men or women, that's when we're really going to see a significant change in physique. So your body composition, right? So I tell my people like, dude, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to get abs in 2 weeks. That's not how this stuff works. Over time, we're going to see that stuff change. And we see that very clearly in the literature. Your insulin resistant markers, your lipid panels, all those things that we're really anxious about, give us some time. It's going to take close to 6 months to a year before we start seeing any significant changes there.
Yeah. And I mean, you're exactly right. It's hard, even as the provider, I get impatient for them,
Yeah.
And it's like, and I have to remind myself to tell them, like, look, you've only been on this 6 to 8 weeks, and we start somewhat conservatively, and we see them 6 to 8 weeks in. We typically go up on most of the stuff just to make sure they're tolerating it. But some of them will come and be like, man, I can't tell I started anything, and then it's just like, look, it's gonna happen. Just give it some time. Still keep working through everything. Consistency is the key. So I very much appreciate your insight with that. So you have been getting all kinds of stuff. What are your plans professionally? I've seen a couple things that you're going to do, but what all? Where can people see you or connect with you from here?
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you asking that. You can find us at, so my course is called HRT University. So you can find us at hrtuniversity.com. I have a free, super just value-packed email. That's what a lot of people know me for nowadays, which is great. I love that. I write a daily email. So Monday through Friday, I put out a email every day, and it's something about HRT, typically my love language. A lot of times I'll talk about business stuff and just some of the going-ons in my life and things of that nature. We have a live event going on later this year in September, which is really exciting. Again, you can find that all on my website. The course itself is called HRT University again, and it's a master course. It's literally, walking you through hormones A to Z. And everybody asks me, is this for like newbies, or is this for, could you be an expert? You could be anybody. I promise you. I hope even by listening to this podcast, you get a sense of like, it's very different from anything you've probably ever taken, and for a good reason. We try to really give you the depths and the details, but also making it super practical. Like, you could go prescribe hormones that week if you want to. You can also find me I'm on Facebook. I'm not really on Instagram or anything. In fact, we have kind of a anti-social media, like, we're just big social media people. We want people coming off that stuff. We love podcasts. We love long form content, stuff where you really get to learn about other people and connect with people and all that good stuff.
And you're going to be a speaker at a couple of events. What are you speaking at?
I am. Thank you. Yes. So we'll have our event later in September. I'm actually, next week we'll be in Vegas speaking at an aesthetics conference, which is a totally new world to me. So that's at the aesthetics show. If any of you are listening or aesthetics people, if you're in Vegas for the aesthetics show, come hang out with me. And then in November, I will be speaking at the Silverback Summit, which is hosted by a friend and colleague of mine, Allie Gilbert. That's a really fun one. It's kind of a combination of, almost like sports medicine, men's health, diet, nutrition, exercise. There's physical therapists there. There's business owners. I mean, it's just a broad audience in one sense, but it's all centered around men's health. And so it's just a great time to meet different people in the industry and grow together and learn together.
Yeah, I went to it a couple of years ago, and I mean, I've had Dr. Grant on the podcast. I had Justin Gross was my last guest, and so it's been, and I still talk with a few of the nurse practitioners I met there today. It's 2 years ago, and so Silverback's awesome. I like it.
It is. You'll meet great people.
I want to close with one thing, and it's funny, your daily email today was about catching a snapping turtle. And so what is your favorite reptile or amphibian? And I could nerd out with this for the next hour, but
we could probably go off on that.
I just want to know your favorite amphibian or reptile.
And this is going to sound probably cliche to anybody who's into reptiles and amphibians, but ball python. It was my first ever like real, like it wasn't just some garter snake I caught in my backyard or something. It was my first ever real snake that I got to buy with my own money from this cool pet store. And I freaking just loved that thing. And they're so calm and really cool. I loved ball python.
Yeah, I had one. His name was Monty the Python.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, and
great reptile.
Yeah, I just love. I would do if I could be successful in the reptile world. That's probably what I would do over people. But it would be a harder run. But man, thank you so much for your insight, your wisdom. It's been killer. I very much appreciate your time and coming and do this with me.
Mason, it's a pleasure. Seriously, thank you very much. I love talking with you.
Thanks for tuning in with that. Nico's awesome. We'll have a link to his HRT University course if you're interested in that. He's going to be speaking at various events throughout the year, so keep up with his stuff as well. And very thankful he gave us the time to sit down and talk with him. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe, reach out with any more suggestions or topics that you want us to cover. Thanks.